Hello, everyone, and welcome to FBL Talks from the Football Blacklist, supported by the Premier League. My name is Rodney Hinds. I'm the co-founder of the Football Blacklist, along with my friend and colleague Leon Mann, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to a very special FBL Talk session celebrating women in football. Now, the Football Blacklist has a proud history of not only recognizing but celebrating some inspiring women making a difference within the game. We will hear from a powerful panel today who are all making great strides in their respective roles. And how fitting that we deliver FBL Talks today to you on the opening day of the Women's Euro 2022 Championship. The tournament kicks off this evening when host England take on Austria in front of a sellout crowd at Old Trafford. We look forward to a vibrant summer of football action in what is being billed as the biggest women's European Championship to date, with games being staged at 10 different venues across the country. The question is, can the Lionesses bring it home? Well, maybe our panel, the great and the good, might be able to give us some insight into England's chances and about football generally from their perspective. As I said, we've got a stellar panel. So let me introduce you to them right now. We're going to start with Jade Morgan, who is the general manager at Leicester City Women. Jade comes from a football family, part of the Morgan dynasty, with sister Holly spending 17 years at Leicester and brother Jonathan previously guiding the club to the Women's Championship title. Good day to you, Jade. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks, Rodney. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you. Next up is Danielle Carter, forward with WSL outfit Brighton and Hove Albion. Danielle has represented the Lionesses herself and remarkably bagged a hat-trick on her debut. The former Arsenal and Reading favourite is now taking on leadership roles and using her experience and platform to further develop the game. Danielle, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm all good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, tremendous. Thank you very much. And last but by no means least, we have Remmie Williams. Remmie is someone to watch out for sure, boasting an impressive track record in the commercial and marketing sectors. Having previously worked as England Women's Player Liaison Officer, she'll offer valuable insight into how the team will be preparing for the tournament. Remmie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. We'll stay with you then. Opening day of the Euros, how do you think England will get on during the tournament?
I'm really confident. I think obviously I was able to get a few camps in during my time at the Lionesses with Serena, the new manager. And I think what she'll bring for the team, what she has brought to the team is fantastic. That they're a really tight unit. She's very clear on what she wants. So there'll be very high standards to be kept during the Euros. So yeah, I'm excited. I think we've got some really exciting football being played.
Good. And obviously, as I said, you were the liaison officer for the England team for a while. What did that mean? What sort of things would you have been doing if you were still there right now?
So during my time there was sort of two aspects to my role. So there was sort of out of camp aspect and then during camp. So out of camp, it was me sort of liaising with the FA's partners and the partnerships team. So obviously the FA's partners had various sort of commercial obligations as part of their contracts. So it's my job to help fulfill them and the player appearances. So that would involve me obviously liaising with the players and their agents and getting them briefed and ready for their appearances. Yeah. And then when we were in camp, again, it was my job to sort of manage and deliver the commercial days during the camps. And just making sure all our sort of partners' rights and sort of activations were running whilst we were on the road.
Okay. Very, very valuable, that behind-the-scenes view. Let's come to a former Lioness, Danielle. How do you think England might get on in a home tournament this year?
I mean, I'm probably going to be biased.
Be biased.
But I think, with the quality of players that they've got, and the team that they've developed and taken to the Euros, I'm excited. I think they should go really far. I don't really want to jinx it yet, but I think it'll be a good tournament. Hopefully it'll be a good tournament. And the fact that it's a home Euros, hopefully that's not going to hinder their performance, but actually work in their favour.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let me ask Jade a question in terms of this. What sort of boost, Jade, do you think that this tournament, England winning it, or just the tournament, what sort of boost do you think this tournament and England's participation and possible success, what can that do for the women's game, do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's going to do a lot of good for women and girls in the UK. So whilst you've got the broadcasting angle, you've got the exposure, the greater visibility of the game, fans coming out to the stadium. Now that COVID's dropped down, well, at the time it's rising, but people are going out watching games. You've got that tangible feel of going out to watch event football. But I think more importantly is the legacy program that they've developed, UEFA's developed on the back of this, the 8 cities having their their local legacy programs, and that covering the 3 goals that they're looking to cover is, of course, equal access, a diverse workforce, and inclusivity and safety for all. So I think whilst the exposure, the broadcasting is going to be amazing and boost for women's and girls football, but I think the long-term measurable outcome in the legacy programs will be really paramount to see the benefits of the Euros.
I mean, it's wonderful to hear all your answers on that, because we're talking about the excitement on the field of play and the stadiums, but Jade's point about that legacy and what happens after the tournament's gone and et cetera, is so important. I just want to move away from the Euros ever so slightly. I'm sure we'll come back to it. I want to talk about your own personal journeys into football. Don't forget the reasoning behind the FBL talks are to obviously highlight what you do and recognize what you do, but also give others an opportunity to see how you did it, what you might have had to go through, and where you are now. We'll start with Danielle. Your own personal journey into football, Danielle. When did that start for you? What was the motivation?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been around for a very long time. I'm 29 now.
Veteran at 29.
Yeah, literally. I mean, yeah, my joints feel a little bit older than that, but no, I can't complain. Taking it right back, I was a crazy tomboy in school. Used to be in the playground on the concrete, kicking out my kickers with a tennis ball with all the boys. My granddad used to pick me up. Lo and behold, I was there playing football. I'll say that's probably my earliest memories were when I was about 7. Then I joined Leyton Orient, which was a Sunday team at the time. A few years there. And then eventually there was a Centre of Excellence, which is now probably what the academy is for the girls currently. So I was there throughout my whole youth career. And then when I was 16, I think it was, I then joined Arsenal. And I was at Arsenal, spent 11 seasons there, which then eventually turned into the WSL, which was the professional league, obviously, and still is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was at Arsenal for 11 seasons. Then I joined Reading, and now I'm at Brighton.
Yeah. How's that first season been with Brighton, working under the legend that is Hope Powell? Yeah,
I mean, Hope's done so much for the game. I don't think anybody could ever sort of dismiss what she's done for the game and still currently doing for the game. So yeah, it's an honour, and I'm fortunate enough to now be working alongside, or not alongside her. I won't say that.
Maybe one day. Maybe you're giving away your ambitions there.
Well, no, I'll be her boss one day. No, I'm joking. She'll probably see this. I'll get a text. I know.
Yeah.
But no, it's great to work under Hope. She's a great coach. Done so much for the game. Got so much respect for her, as do all of the other players.
Yeah. Okay. Jade, your own personal journey. You're at Leicester City now, doing great things. When did that journey start, and how did it progress for you?
So for me, 2015 was when I left. So I've been across energy, fast moving consumer goods, and then 2015 I took the move into football. Like you said at the beginning, obviously it was with my family, my brother and sister and my dad. So just for the last 7 years, it's just been transforming the club from amateur to semi-professional to fully professional. So it's been a real journey, and we've obviously gone through the leagues from Tier 3 to Tier 4, and now Tier 3 to Tier 2, now the WSL, and we survived our first year in the WSL, and we're about to embark on a second journey. So Yeah, I think I'm a specialist is very much off the field. The last 7 years is been good. It's been good fun. It's been exciting. You have the good and bad times in football, but yeah, no, exciting for the second year in the WSL.
Is there anything such as a typical day for a general manager at a football club? What, for example, might you be doing Monday to Friday? we've only got an hour, by the way.
Yeah, no, it could be anything. I suppose I look after, help support the players, the people in terms of our staff, the operation side of things, facilities, contract negotiations, and there's the marketing side, the commercial. Do you want me to keep going?
I think I get the gist. That sounds like there's no time for lunch in that day.
No, I love food and I talk about food all the time, but
yeah,
honestly, sometimes you can just. It's a nice environment. So I'm not going to say I work all the time and I don't have a good lunch break. But I think the passion behind it, wanting to deliver and wanting to do good for the place, for the staff, for the city of Leicester, is that what keeps you going to skip lunch sometimes.
Yeah, I can relate to that one. Remmie, what about yourself? When did that football bug bite for you?
I would say my earliest memories would probably be. So I'm a big daddy's girl, and I would say my earliest memories was probably always feeling sorry for him when it came to Derby Day. Obviously now
this is the Manchester Derby, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Obviously now Manchester City are a different kettle of fish to back then. But yeah, we were in a mixed household. My older brother was a United fan. My dad was blue, and yeah, I decided. I wanted to support the team that my dad did. So it was probably a pity supporter at that time.
Yeah.
And then, I think once I hit sort of 10, 11, 12, I think it was, that's when I really started sort of watching football and getting invested in it and, playing with the lads on lunch breaks and stuff. And then I just kind of, I was always creative. And then I sort of, then decided, I want a career in football. So then when it got to sort of like college, I sort of did like media studies, graphic design. Then it turned to marketing at uni. Again, I always knew at the back of my head I wanted to get into the football industry, but, I didn't really see people who looked like me. And I was just like, you know what, keep it broad. That's your pie in the sky idea, but let's just start with studying marketing and we'll see where we go from there. But I was really fortunate to get a entry-level role at Manchester City after I graduated. So I was there for 4.5 years across men's and women's football. And then that was when I was introduced to the women's game, completely fell in love with it, and then was given an opportunity to sort of lead on the marketing strategy there. And also look after sort of like the player activity with the men's and women's team. Which then built me on really nicely for my role with the FA because obviously the England team had a lot of Man City players. And then, from there I sort of went into a sports marketing role with an agency for a brief period of time. And now I'm sort of like a month into a sports agent's life. So it's been...
And what's that... A little bit like the question to Jade, what's a typical day for you in short?
A typical day for me can vary. We've obviously got a big roster of clients. We've got around 40 at the minute, and we've got sort of a mixture of talent. We've got obviously current players, coaches, and sort of pundits as well. So every day is different. Some days it might be sort of like responding to obviously incoming inquiries for our talent, obviously briefing our talent, or it might be sort of proactively searching for opportunities for them. My role here specifically, I'm going to be focusing on sort of like the commercial side. So it'll be sort of like proactively looking for brands to align with who are have an authentic sort of connection with the talent that we have.
Derby Day in your house must be so much sweeter now, mustn't it?
Absolutely. It's got to the point where, like, you know what, I don't even take the
sympathy now, is it? Yeah. Okay. The WSL. I like what I see. I think a lot of people in that. Jade, your view on the WSL? I know you're obviously part of it. Do you deem it a success at the moment? What would you change? What do you like?
Yeah, it is a success. A success. I mean, we've got the broadcast deal. There's more exposure. The competitive balance between teams is getting so much smaller. So, yeah, it is a success. It's enjoyable to compete in the WSL. It's good because when I came into the championship in 2018, I've been able to see the rise in the women's game and the investment increase year on year for the teams from the FA and various other income streams. So, yeah, it is a success. It's exciting that we get to continue on that journey and benefit from the exposure from the broadcasting. So, yeah, I would definitely say I can't say that word. It is a success.
I know. Where would you expect the WSL, based on the rate of progress that we've seen at the moment, Jade? Where would you expect it to be in maybe 5 years' time, or where would you hope it would be?
I hope it's expanded in that time. So there's just more league games to play. There's more time on the pitch for the girls to do their thing and compete for the audiences and just compete for themselves. So, yeah, I would definitely hope that by then it's an expanded league.
And Danielle, obviously you play in the WSL. What are the vibes? How does it feel? Does it feel like a different space now? Same blade of grass, goals at either end, but broadcasters now, much more interest. As a player, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's massive. Obviously, I've been involved since the very first day till currently. Like you say, the Sky deal last year, for example, there's more games on TV, more people are talking about it who probably wouldn't talk about women's football because it's in their face now. Whether they feel obliged to talk about it or whether they've actually got a genuine interest in it, there's completely different audience. But in terms of from a player's point of view, you know, games are on TV, more people are talking about it. There's increased scrutiny, which I think we not really enjoy the scrutiny, but I think where we want our game to be and we know it comes with it, it's just part of the package now. So I think it's a very exciting time to be part of women's football and to be a player.
Yeah. Remmie, I would imagine you would concur with that, and it's an exciting time. And imagine some of those WSL players now or in the future, maybe your clients one day.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, it's always keeping one eye on the next crop of talent coming in as well. But yeah, just as a fan of the game, like it's amazing to see where it is at the minute. I think there's so much more where it can go. But yeah, and I think it's just at a really good point in time. Obviously, I think for me, what I'd love to see is packed out stadiums. You know, the commercial investment, media coverage is great, but I think that to truly, you know, like enjoy women's football, like it's so enjoyable when you're there in the ground and seeing it and just appreciating what these players are doing on the pitch. So for me, like I want to see packed out stadiums. Yeah.
We're talking about packed out stadiums. We're more likely to get them over the next few weeks with the women's Euros taking part. Danielle, do you ever see the day when potentially the England women's team has the same type of diversity that Gareth Southgate's England had last summer?
Not anytime soon, I would say, because not magically you're going to get more players from a diverse background, so you're not going to see it in the England team anytime soon. Do I think there should be more? 100%. I mean, nobody can tell me that there's not more Black, Asian, ethnic minorities who are good enough to play football or good enough to play for England. I think there just needs to be more provisions, more opportunities, and an equal standing of opportunities. So for whatever reason, we seem to be failing a lot of maybe inner city kids or kids whose families can't afford to send them to training, etc. So I think there's a massive failing going on, whether that's from the FA, governing bodies, whoever it may be. There's not enough that is being done to support these kids.
Yeah. Jade, staying in that same sort of vein, how important do you think allyship is? I mean, we've seen the likes of Ian Wright, Emil Heskey at your own football club, back women's football actively. How important do you think that is?
It's important to have somebody that is potentially in the media or in the public eye, just to be your ally, to speak for you, to raise awareness, and also just for young people to be able to see, again, somebody in the public eye supporting their needs, just supporting their desires, and just maybe feeling, oh yeah, somebody does care, somebody is trying to help lobby for us. So allyship across whoever it could be is important. It's powerful, but it is important for young people to see they have the support.
Underrepresentation of Black women in the English top tier or all the tiers. Remmie, we need to continue to battle against that, don't we?
Yeah, 100%.
And you three ladies, by the way, are doing that, even though you do what you do during a very busy day. You know, you're out there repping and people are looking. But what needs to be done, if anything, on that, Remmie, from your viewpoint?
I think there's different layers that need to be done. Like, I feel like we're getting into a really good space now at the minute where, you know, organizations are raising awareness that there's issues. Mm-hmm. But I think what we need to see now is, well, what is the solution to that? What are the actions? Like, you know, it's all great doing campaigns, you know, at different times of the year to say, you know, you're against racism or you're against discrimination, we should fight this and we should fight that. But what are you doing to then tackle that? Mm-hmm. And, you know, like, it has been really positive to see people like, you know, the FA and, you know, investing more into the emerging talent centres, and the fact that the Premier League is now going to be investing money into that as well to make sure that, you know, they can do the best that they can to try and tackle the issue of lack of diversity. But I just think more of that needs to happen, and investment needs to happen, and just continuing to listen to the voices that it's affecting, because, you know, because we don't have enough people at the table in these important meetings, you know, things are getting overlooked. But they just need to make sure that if they're going to be putting things into place to help tackle the issues, that make sure the people that you're trying to help are represented in that room as well.
Let me just come back to Danielle for a moment. We're talking about assistance and help and people trying to do the right thing. The Premier League, the FA, the EFL, the LMA, and the PFA have all recently collaborated to create the Coach Index, Danielle, a self-registration system providing Black, Asian, mixed heritage and female coaches with access to information about employment and development opportunities. How important are initiatives like that for those that want to get involved in the game?
Massively important. If anything, I can't believe it's taken so long just to have these type of initiatives. Because similarly, if you look at the England national team or the Premier League or any football league, to be fair, in the men's side, there's a massive number of Black, well, not so much Asian, but Black players, for example. But then when you look at the coaches, there's a handful that I think we could both name, that all of us on this call can probably name in all divisions of the men's league. So I think it's crucial. I think it's so important. I think it's also the explanation of it. It's not to give anybody an upper hand. It's just to give someone an opportunity just to be mentioned, just to be amongst the names in the room. So I'm all for it. Obviously, with anything, there's always people who are for and against it and see the negative sides of it or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I mean, you sort of described yourself as a veteran at 29 with your aches and pains, Danielle. Is coaching something that you're looking at down the road, or do you see yourself somewhere else?
No, absolutely not. I knew from quite early on, coaching was not what I wanted to do. So that's one thing I can say. I hold hand on heart. I definitely will not be a coach.
But is that because you don't see enough people like you doing it? Has that put you off?
No, that hasn't put me off, but I am a massive believer in just, you have to see it to be it. But me personally, I am not a coach. I did not want to be a coach. That's not to put any shade on anyone else. I just know me and myself, I do not want to be a coach. I don't know what I actually want to do. There's no set title or
a better TV punditry. Yeah,
I do
there you go.
I do enjoy the media side of things.
Yeah.
But if I do want to stay in football, I've obviously done a few bits here and there, education wise. So I would want to be involved in the business side of football, similar to what Jade's doing actually. But yeah, I don't know what role. But yeah, I won't be a coach.
Okay, we can write that one off.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm just going to pop to Jade now, and well, to all of you, the same question to all of you: the challenges and perceptions based around a black woman in football. How have you dealt with that? How have you gone about breaking some of those stereotypes, Jade?
It's tough. I'm going to add being a young black woman as well. That's always tough. I think you just have to, it's a cliche, you've just got to just back yourself and don't let imposter syndrome creep in. Don't listen to the perception on social media sometimes. I think you've just got to just back yourself. But I also just continue to self-develop yourself, continue to educate yourself and have good understanding into the subject or topic area that you're invested in. But breaking the stereotypes, don't buy into it, don't listen to it, and just continue to back yourself. I know it's so cliche and it's so quite blunt, but you just have to just be that pragmatic sometimes.
Yeah. Remmie, in terms of yourself in the high-powered world of marketing and the commercial side of things, how have you gone about dealing with some of the stereotypes and perceptions that have obviously come your way?
Yeah, it's tough. I think sometimes when you're in rooms and you're the only person of color in the room, like you do feel like you represent everyone, so you sort of add even more pressure onto yourself than needs be, because you don't want people to then like stereotype everyone else based on how you performed in that room. So you do feel an added pressure. But I was at Women Who Play Talks yesterday at Box Park, and I think it was Sean Anderson. She was saying, like, use it as your superpower. Like, use your differences as your superpower. And I really connected with that. And it's so true. And own it. Like, you're there for a reason. So, yeah, I think it takes some time, to get to that mindset. But I think my advice to anyone would just be to own who you are. Diversity brings, better work. So, yeah, own it.
Absolutely. Just to jump back to Danielle, definitely not doing the coaching, maybe a bit of TV work. What about, because I know that you're very much into leadership roles and trying to be a good example, possibly a place in the boardroom for you where you can make some really big decisions? Could you see yourself there?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely not ruling that out. And I think that's probably where I am steering towards, because just as we need more an increased diversity in coaches, we definitely need more diverse boards. And I'm happy to go and ruffle a few feathers and almost open a door for other people. Like you say, I haven't seen many people besides, let's say, QPR, who I think are doing it the right way. And I really think they're a great club. But besides that, I haven't seen many other diverse people in boardrooms, especially not many women, black women.
Absolutely right. So you might consider that down the line in terms of making some decisions. I mean, you're all Football Blacklist winners, aren't you? Right, that's for sure. It's not a shameless plug, but how important is it then to have events like the Football Blacklist, whereby we can come together? And for me personally, and for Leon as well, the awardees and people like yourself are great, but it's the networking and the ability to talk and share experiences and knowledge that we really get a buzz off. Jade, what say you in terms of how important is the Football Blacklist?
It's extremely important. I remember I wrote a quote a few months back. It's just shining a light on our community and the great work that we do and the great people within football that are just doing good and doing good things. So yeah, it's shining a light on our community and all the powerful stuff that we're doing. So I thoroughly love being part of this community, and I'm glad that I won an award off the back of it as well.
Yeah, good. And Danielle, obviously I've seen you at the awards as well. How important is that sort of gathering and that sort of initiative to just inspire and show our community that we are doing stuff on a positive level.
Yeah, echoing what Jade said, I can't say it any better than what she has just said it. But it does shine a light on the community, and it's a celebration. I have heard the whispers of, oh, well, why is there not a white?
We hear that all the time. Yeah.
So it's just, you know, that, like I said, there's going to be people who are ignorant and not understand what it is we're trying to do. But like Remmie said, with other stuff, you just got to ignore. You got to ignore the echoes or the murmurs, and just continue to shine a light on what we're doing in this field, because there are still people who are doing great work, but sometimes aren't getting recognition for it. So I believe the blacklist is there to do that.
Absolutely. And Remmie, you are ones to watch winner, aren't you? So we obviously think that you're going to go and do the business in years to come. How pleasing was it for you to win that type of award from the community as such?
Honestly, I was just like, who, me? Danielle came through, and I was just like, how do they even know who I am? And, you know, people were saying, did you have no idea? So I was like, no, I had no idea. So, like, for me, like, it was just a realization that people are watching you even when you don't think they are. And, you know, that's probably one of my pieces of advice to other people is someone, even if it's just one person, will be watching what you do. So, you know, always give, you know, your best and leave a lasting impression on people. But yeah, no, it was amazing to receive it. And as both Jade and Danielle have said, you know, just celebrating what, you know, the community is doing and, you know, being an inspiration for other people.
I've got to give you all a little insight. When we do the Football Blacklist every year, myself and Leon, who have obviously been around a little while, it still amazes us because we don't find all the people. So we ask the community to give a shout out and, you know, put people forward. And, you know, it really is stunning the progress that we're making as a community within football, because most times when I see the list, there are a good percentage of people I've never heard of. And that just shows the development and the progress that we're making. Talking about development.
Rodney, can I add to that? I just think, do you not think that's really powerful also, that whilst it shines lights on the talent, but together you bring people together as a network, and that's even more powerful for jobs and recommendations and what do you do? Oh, let's have a coffee. So I just think bringing a network is, so thank you for doing that.
No worries. Jade's interviewing me now. Isn't it great? I love it. No, I mean, what happens is that we sometimes hear people, broadcasters and the like, saying, well, where is all the talent? And we say, we only have to turn up at a Football Blacklist and it's all there. You know, in regards to people behind the camera, in front of the camera, players, administrators. So as I said a few minutes ago, for myself and Leon, it is absolutely fantastic to see and recognize people, but it's that networking where we can see people changing LinkedIn details, business card, whatever, and then they go and build their own working relationships. So yeah, the Football Blacklist is here to stay. Myself and Leon won't be doing it forever, I'm sure, but there will be others behind the scenes, as they say. In terms, let's go back to the Euros. Danielle, I think you might have alluded to it earlier on. There's going to be a lot of pressure on England. It could get them to raise their game, or it could crush them. An England win at Euro 2022, it takes the game to another level, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put any more pressure on the girls, but regardless if England were to win the Euros completely, I think, like we saw at the Olympics in 2012, it's going to have an amazing, lasting effect and lasting legacy to inspire so many more girls to take up football. And hopefully, again, the next tournament will go again. But regardless if we win the tournament, I think it really is going to inspire the next generation.
It feels like an important moment, Danielle, because we've talked about the WSL and we're not saying it's perfect, but it's there and it's in people's faces as such. An England win at the Euros, England just missing out with the men last summer. It would, I would imagine, give women's football just another really positive boost.
100%, I would agree with that. like you say, the men get close every tournament. The whole nation get behind them. It's coming home. But truthfully, I can say I do believe it can come home with the team that we've got, and even talking about the pressure of it being a home tournament. The girls that are there, there's a lot of, some would say inexperienced, but there's a lot of young girls there who won't feel the pressure and who would just go out and showcase what they can do, and that in itself, I think, is an advantage.
Just pop back to Jade at Leicester City. Jade, let's be positive and say England win the tournament or go very close. Does that help Leicester City in any way in terms of excitement, people coming through the door to watch the women's team?
Yeah, definitely. How I'm thinking now, how do I capitalise off the back of this potential successful tournament, getting and capitalising on those young fans, those hearts and minds, and getting them back to the King Power Stadium to come watch our games against Brighton or Manchester United or or Man City, whoever it could be. So yeah, absolutely, it's my job to capitalise off the back of this tournament and just keep the journey going, keep the momentum, so it comes back into the WSL.
In terms of the community of Leicester, Jade, how do you go about, if not you, but the club generally, how do you go about trying to attract people to the women's game to come and watch Leicester, who are now playing at the King Power as well, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
A super stadium.
Yeah, no, I think it's just a good marketing strategy. One of the small things that we're doing in, I think it's in a week's time actually, is we're inviting some of the supporters down to the training ground and holding an open consultation with some of our fans, the supporter groups, season ticket holders, some people that are regular fans that don't come every week, just inviting everybody down, having an open and honest conversation and just hearing what they want. I'm all about feedback and listening to 360 feedback as well. So yeah, just listening to what the supporters want, and hopefully we can try and implement or make change so we can give them a really good matchday experience, because that's all we want to do. Whilst the product is growing on the field, is what is our product off the field as well. So if we can listen to the fans and implement positive change, then it's going to be a fantastic product for all.
And clearly you want to see more men, or men generally turning up to watch Leicester City women, don't you?
Well, there's no preference actually. An audience is an audience. It doesn't matter whether you're male, you're female, you're old, or you're younger. We've done lots of studies on who our demographic is, and families are the typical audience that want to come to the footballs. But we are attracting male footballers, male fans who don't necessarily want to go to the men's game, might want to come to the women's game. So yeah, there's not a set target market. We're looking to expand and listen to the demographic and shape our products for different demographics, really.
And if I just pop to Remmie, I would imagine that your portfolio, your company's portfolio, has to see more women on the books sooner rather than later, and being treated to the same contracts and market opportunities as the men are now.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. What you call it? Luckily, at where I am now, we've actually got a very diverse roster of male and female, and also talent from BAME backgrounds, which is great. But of course, we always want to continue to grow that as well. But to your point, on obviously ensuring that our female talent are in line with our male talent, that's something that we're always pushing for, and we will continue to push for as the game grows as well, because they are going to become more in demand, and they're well within their rights to be wanting equal pay and the same standards as what their male counterparts receive.
Absolutely right. General question to you all, take a bit of pressure off the lack of lunch and the demands of playing here and playing there. Danielle, when you're not playing, how do you relax? How do you get away from the pressure of the WSL and sport generally?
What do? I do a lot of online shopping, spend money I don't have. No, I think I'm very good at sort of disengaging when I'm not at football, with family, friends, watching shows, just switching off really. I'd like to think that I've sort of got that balance, and over time, I've sort of just learned how to what works for me really.
Yeah. And Jade, what about yourself? As I said, no lunch for you from Monday to Friday. How you getting away from the stresses and strains of
You know
life
me,
in
Rodney.
football? Yeah,
It's difficult for me to switch off, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm finishing my masters, which hopefully I can complete in September. But just in my personal life, I like I said before, I love to cook, love food. So cooking for the family, just chilling at home. Yeah. So just having a bit of rest and recover time. Just all about me. So yeah, I try.
Good.
I do try.
You try. And Remmie, what about yourself? How do you get away from the pressure?
I will either sort of do sort of gym class. I joined One Rebel last year, which is like a hit sort of gym session. That's always good to just blow off some steam. Leave my phones in the locker for a good 45 minutes to an hour, and just be able to switch off. And I also started learning how to DJ last year, so
Okay.
I switched between the two.
Good. Obviously, as I said at the top of the piece, that you're doing what you're doing. You've been recognised as well. There's going to be a lot of people, young women watching, who would love to do what you're doing, playing on the commercial side of things with Jade and Remmie. What advice could you give to someone watching this who will obviously face hurdles? You guys are making it easier, by the way, because at least they can see you and say it can be done. Jade, what sort of advice would you give a young person right now who wants to get into the game of football, maybe a bit tentative, and wants to get into, say, your area, administrative level?
I haven't always been in football. Like I say, 2015 was when I jumped from the energy or the fast moving consumer goods into football. Don't be afraid if you're not in football right now. You can have so many transferable skills that can come into the industry. Just two things, really. Just back yourself. I know it's easier said than done, and you have many days where you just think, I can't, but just honestly, just back yourself. But more importantly is, and I said this earlier on, is just continue to self-grow, self-learn and self-develop, whether that's through academia or short courses or whatever it could be. And you're only doing this for yourself. You have to remember you're only doing this for yourself, but just continue to learn, be a sponge, listen, learn, network. But yeah, just back yourself. That's honestly so cliche, but you just have to just back yourself.
Danielle, no doubt you've backed yourself over the years. Anything you can add to that? Because we see you guys doing what you're doing. General manager here, commercial and marketing, player at the WSL. It can't clearly have been plain sailing all the way. People, sometimes I know as a journalist, people are not interested in the backstory. They're just interested in what they see right now. What advice could you give to someone wanting to come and play in the WSL, for example? They can see it now more so than they could have seen it 2 years ago. What little nuggets could you give them?
It's like you say, people just see the success story sort of thing, or the here and now. If I think back as a child, I've got to give my career basically to my mum in terms of she was the one taking me to all my games, which was very far, and she reminds me all the time that I owe her a car, and petrol, and all this malarkey. But
she comes to the blacklist with you as well.
Yeah, she goes over with me now. That's my way of paying her back. I can't afford the Bentley she wants, so I'll bring her to the blacklist event. But yeah, no, seriously, there is a long story behind the end. I won't even say I'm at the end, but I'm still along my journey. But there is, the grassroots football to begin with, and you start off playing football because you enjoy it, and I'm still playing football because I enjoy it. And when I stop enjoying it is when I will ultimately hang up my boots. But sort of advice I would give anybody whose goal is to be a WSL player is to just work hard. As cliche as that may sound, none of us on this call are where we are without working hard. And like my mum's always said, unfortunately, we have to work even harder than the next person. So literally, that's all I could say is work hard, work smart, enjoy what you do, and hopefully one day you will reap the benefits.
Remmie, in your world, people are going to see it as very stars in their eyes, aren't they? The word agent always seems to conjure that sort of excitement. Yeah. Obviously, there's an awful lot of hard graft and discipline and disappointment that you have had to deal with and will have to continue to deal with. What little nuggets could you give a young person who may be looking today saying, I'd like to do what Remmie's doing?
A couple of things I would say: network. Every one of my job opportunities has come through my network. But again, like once you're in, like it's down to you then to prove yourself once you're in there. But definitely just keep growing your network and making connections, but also nurturing those relationships as well that you've got. I swear by, like, I don't ever want, whether it's people that I work with in the industry or talent that I work with, to hear from me when I need something. Like, just continue to build those relationships over time. And I think I mentioned it earlier, just around like someone is always watching you. So like, if you're ever, being given an opportunity, always give, above and beyond when you're there, and make the most of whatever opportunity that is, whether it's networking while you're there or just making it visible, the work that you're doing, because someone's always watching you. And then I guess the working with talent aspect, I think, treat them like human beings. They're just like us. Be empathetic. Don't treat them like stars. Most of them just want to be treated like a normal person. Don't get starstruck and just
don't get starstruck. Some great advice there, from all of you. Obviously, listen, the last few years we've been dealing with COVID and the repercussions of that. So isn't it fantastic that we can all be on this call and talking about the things that we love and really enjoy? I mean, in terms of the WSL, the Premier League provided a total of 1.4 million for the Women's Super League testing program to enable the National League to complete their 2019 and 2020 playoffs. So those are the sort of things that the Premier League have done. We're now being able to talk about football again the way we could pre-2019. What do the next few weeks hold for you guys? Because, there's a new season just around the corner once the Euros are over. So, Jade, typically one eye on the new season. What are you doing in regards to that?
Yeah, and one eye on the new season was weeks back, Rodney.
Two eyes on the new season. Two eyes.
So it's exciting because in the off seasons, it's really busy for my types of role, but it's quite lonely because obviously all the players go. So it's quite next week. The players will be coming back, starting their testing and pre-season training, and we'll have some team bonding activities. So it'd be nice to have a full training ground again, and just kind of all surge ahead towards our second season in the WSL. So both eyes on the 10th, 11th of September for the start of the WSL.
Okay, and Danielle, another season ahead. Pre-season just around the corner.
It's pre-season at the minute. Doing pre-season at the minute, and then we'll be in next week with Brighton for testing, training, etc. I think holiday season's over now. I've had my fair shares of holidays in this off season, but now it's back to the park, back to the ball work.
Do you still enjoy pre-season? I know a lot of players don't.
Still, would have been still as anybody ever
did.
in. I don't think anybody enjoys pre-season. I think it's just what you've got to do. And if anybody tells you they enjoy pre-season, then they've got a screw loose. But it's a good time to meet the new players. Obviously, everyone's been away for so long, so going back to training ground, like Jade said, I'm sure Jade's saying she's going to want all the players back, but as soon as we're back in, they're then going to say they don't want to see us for a long time. So
And it's great that you mention those sort of things, because peeps that read their papers or online, they don't see that sort of backstory stuff, do they, with the discipline and I think you mentioned it, Jade, maybe isolation sometimes can be quite a lonely place. People probably don't relate that word to football, but in certain cases it must be. Remmie, what about yourself? Contracts to be signed, new players to look at, exciting times.
Yeah, really exciting. But as Jade said, some of that prep has already sort of begun for after the Euros. But absolutely, a new season, more talent to keep an eye on. And obviously build off the Euros as well, and what our clients have been up to during there, because we have got quite a few, whether that's doing media work or on the pitch. So I'm sure we'll continue to get interest in them as the season kicks off. So just maintaining that interest and growing it.
Great, thank you. I said to you ladies about 55 minutes ago that this hour would rattle by, and it's rattled by. I've got to say thank you to you all for just providing so many little nuggets of wisdom. It's not about ourselves, really, is it? It's about other people that want to try and get a foothold into the game. And I think you've done that beautifully. Let me just wrap up then. As always, you can follow the Football Blacklist across social media on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and interact with us, please, using the hashtag FBLTalks. Let's continue our efforts, not just the people on the line, but those watching, to diversify our industry, celebrate Black excellence, which we've had on the line today for sure, and continue to inspire generations. My thanks go to Jade, Remmie, and Danielle for being inspirational as ever. We've got to try and diversify the industry. So thanks again. Let's keep working together to do that. And as I said, celebrate Black excellence. To everybody, I hope to see you all at the next Football Blacklist that I'm sure is being planned as we speak. It'll be just nice once again to get together, not only with yourselves, but some new faces as well. Listen, have a lovely summer. Thank you for your time so much.